Hey, what's going on? It's Quinn David Furness. Welcome to my show. Quinn David Furness presents the Beantown Podcast for Friday, May 27th, 2022. One last ride on Diversity Parkway. What's happening? My name is Quinn, and this is my show. Thank you for tuning in. It is kind of a strange Friday. We were having our one-on-one over Zoom, where it's kind of like it's cold actually in Chicago. It's not a nice day today in Chicago. It's like just a smidge SMIDGE over 50 and windy. But this weekend into like I think starting like Sunday into like Tuesday is going to be in the 90s and sunny. But it's super humid, and so I'm kind of inside right now. If you're on the YouTube stream, hello YouTube. If you're watching us, not just listening to us, sweater, sweatpants, that sort of thing. But it's also so humid and so sticky that I feel like you got to be sitting in front of a fan. It's kind of bizarre. It's a good problem. It's a first world problem to have. What's happening? I am the showrunner, the best boy, the chief caterer of this program. Quinn David Furness presents the Beantown Podcast. I want to say hello to all my friends in Pakistan. Hello, Islamabad. Hello, Hyderabad. Hello, Khyber Pass. What's going on? How are you? I'm not going to apologize for last week, but I just wanted to recognize that last week was a tough show. I was sick, low energy. I wasn't really in the mood for a show. And sometimes we have weeks like that. Hello, Matt Fiedler. Thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. It's good to see you. You know what's strange is I can see you commenting in the chat on YouTube, but on my person marker, it shows you how many people are watching and how many people have given it a thumbs up. We're still sitting at 0. So you know what that means? It means it's not accurate. It means that there's probably millions of people watching this YouTube stream every time we go live on YouTube, and I just don't know because these analytics are bogus, man. I wasn't going to YouTube stream. I wasn't going to do visuals today until the last second here. Yeah, I guess I don't count. Exactly. I don't know what to tell you. It literally says 0 right now. I'll send you a Snapchat. I wanted to do one more video stream here on the Beantown Podcast because we are moving out of 7 to burglarize me this weekend because there's a lot of valuable stuff in here to steal. I tell you what. Moving out at Diversity Parkway and moving to bigger and better things in a different part of town. So the apartment's a lot of boxes, but I've definitely made the mistake. I'm a very proactive person over things like moving. I like to transfer my utilities right away and just get stuff packed up, which I think is a great trait to have. But I've absolutely made the mistake in the past, and we've talked about it on this show. I distinctly recall a show when I left Baltimore 3 years ago about packing up all my silverware by accident before my Last Supper, Jesus style. And then I ate my, you all maybe remember the crepes story. I made crepes with garlic butter because that's what I accidentally grabbed at the grocery store. And I think I ate it with my hands. It was kind of syrupy and sticky. So the taste was bad. The experience was bad. It was just, you know what, we don't need to do that. So I've packed up a decent amount of stuff. I mean, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 boxes packed up right now. And there's still going to be some things kind of lingering out there that are going to take some time. I need to do some serious cleaning in this place. The clothes always, take a little bit of time, and getting all the kitchen stuff packed up. The kitchen stuff is the trickiest because it's the most fragile stuff. So you just got to be a little bit more careful with how you pack it. So far, it's mainly been books and random stuff that doesn't really matter. And just a lot of knickknacks and stuff. And so I don't think I'm going to throw myself into it until Monday, I suppose. I don't think I have any plans for Monday. It's Memorial Day. Happy Memorial Day weekend to everyone. Obviously, I have the day off from work. And so I think that's the day that makes sense because I'm not working and I don't really have any big plans. And it's the day before the moving truck comes to just go from everything and just make sure, you have a backpack and a duffel bag that has your immediate things in there. And I think we'll be good. So, knickknacks and paddywhacks. That's exactly right. We're going to get into it here. There's a lot of different things going on, and I'm doing my best to try to remember everything. The first thing I want to mention is listener discretion is advised when you're listening to the Beantown Podcast. Number one, we'll occasionally use some language. Number two, this podcast is objectively terrible. Although I'm going to try to bring you a higher energy than last week type of show, fast paced, that sort of thing. I mentioned there's a lot going on we want to chat about. I don't really want to talk about moving any more than that because, gosh, feels like we talk about it every year and it's really not that thrilling. I think we all have moved before and we all know how much of a pain in the ass it can be. And that's just, you know what, that's happening for me, but I'm so glad to get out of this place. I will not have fond memories of living here for the past year and change. So good to get that out of the way. Next time you hear from me, it'll be June, which is hard to believe. The year's 2022 is almost halfway over. How crazy is that? And we'll be in a new space, new podcasting, recording studio. Rachel thinks it's a second bedroom, but we'll see what happens. And I'm looking forward to it. A little bit more light. That's the thing too with the way my apartment is set up, which was partially me, but partially just like it makes sense to do it this way. If you're on the YouTube stream or if you've seen my apartment at all in the last year, my couch backs up to this big window, which is just like the most sensible place to put the couch based off the layout of the living room. So it's very small. But what it means is that anytime I want to, go live on video, Zoom call, whatever, I got to either, you've seen it both ways. We either go where the angels from heaven, you can't see my face. You just see the light behind me. That's with the blinds open, or we close the blinds. And it's not that it's very sunny outside right now, but it's 4 p.m. on a Friday afternoon. And it feels like Hitler's bunker in here. It's so dark because that's a crazy thing about this apartment that I guess is not, my Baltimore studio, I think had like 4 total, 1 in the bathroom, 2 in the living room, 1 in the kitchen, but we're talking windows here. Call your Empire rep or Feldco. Remember Scott Feldco? This apartment, quite literally, I've never lived in an apartment quite like this before, has 2 windows. That's it. You've got this big one here in the living room and then one on the side of my bedroom. And those are the only windows in this entire apartment. So it's pretty dark. It's pretty lonely out here. Nothing too wild. So I'm excited to get out. More natural light, more windows, the whole shebang. So what do we got on tap today? Well, we're talking kind of bouncing around a couple of different things. There's no one cohesive topic. We're not doing any power rankings, nothing like that. But we got a Beantown Poll question of the week on Instagram that's currently live. We're going to check in on that, which is about a TV show that just dropped today. And we're going to be talking briefly about another TV show that just dropped today. And I'm not usually like the plugged in TV person, but there's a lot going on. Not to mention This Is Us ended this week. Boy, 1-word roller coaster, 2-word emotional roller coaster. And we got a new Right on Cue segment that I'm excited to premiere for you. And I want to definitely check in with you a little bit about my weekend last weekend in Milwaukee, which was just turned into a very just wild kind of scene at not Miller Park, American Family Life Park or whatever it's called. I didn't, when I was talking to you this time last week and you would have told me, hey, Quinn, you ever saw Vanilla Ice and Naughty by Nature and Rob Bass in concert? I would have said, I don't know who Rob Bass even is. And 7 days later, I've seen all 3 of those guys. It's crazy. So we're going to be talking that. Let's check in first. We should read our ads too. It's been so long since we gave a proper shout out. Let's check in on the Beantown Poll question of the week because it ties into those 2 shows. Oh, and one other thing, and we'll get to this when we actually do the Right on Cue segment, but this is my first time doing Right on Cue, and we're also live on YouTube. So YouTube, your stream is actually going to be longer than the actual podcast episode because, as you might expect, it doesn't take me very long. It's a pre-recorded segment, but I have to pause the podcast recording on GarageBand, insert the MP3 file, and then start playing it again. So, it's going to be like a 30-second delay or something like that, but that's just how it's going to be. So just giving you a heads up, that's coming. Okay, this week's Beantown Beanhead Poll question of the week. Again, you can always find these on my Instagram. I'm at q.queend. That's the place to go for a Beantown Poll question of the week. You can also, hey, maybe you're not on Instagram. Well, that means you can't participate in the poll, but you could join Instagram and then you could participate. So that's my plug. But yeah, so our question of the week, which I just thought of this morning, and it's still live because I only posted it, 5 hours ago. So we're going to get more results coming in. But it's crazy. The results are changing every time I look. I first checked it like 10, 15 minutes ago, and the numbers were kind of all over the place, the percentages. Then I checked it like 5 minutes ago, and it was dead heat even. And now I checked it again, and the numbers have shifted once more. So here's our Beantown poll question of the week. If you missed it, there it is on the screen, sideways, because that's how I'm doing it. Our question: do you care that Stranger Things season 4 dropped today? And currently, here are the results. For yes, we have 33%. For no, we have 22%. For I Miss Barb, we have 22%. And for Justice for Bob, not Barb, Bob, Sean Essen's character, we also have 22%. So thank you to everyone who's. First, it looked like it was going to be Justice for Bob. Then I Miss Barb was starting to make it a runaway. And now we've got Stranger Things for yes. People apparently are excited that it's back, which is what I wanted to mention because it's actually one of the shows I wanted to mention. It's kind of an interesting thing. And thank you to those of you who have not yet voted. You still have 17 hours. Stranger Things, I liked. I thought it was really fresh, really original. Had a fun first season. I liked season 2. I thought it was an improvement upon season 1. I liked the introduction of the new characters. Season 3 just didn't really do it for me. I was just starting to get really bored of the monsters, the whole kind of, the 80s kind of nostalgia aspect of it. It was always like you watch the show, and when they're doing the like 80s stuff and they're at the shopping mall and the music, all that stuff and the outfits, I'm like, oh, this is really cool. I love watching this. And then they inevitably got to go into the upside down and there's monsters. And that my big problem is everyone's got, 11 and all their cronies. They got powers that are never really explained. And so it's just convenient plot device after convenient plot device. I didn't like how they made that Australian dude from season 2, the bad, got possessed by a demon in season 3, and then he was the bad guy. Because they just ruined his character because he had such a great character arc in season 2. And then he just gets totally sidelined like that. And I think we all knew that Sean Astin was never going to make it, but he was a great, compelling father figure kind of character. What's in the cup? Oh, Joaquin, good to see you. Chunky Corgi 69. Is that right? We got water for now because it's not 5 o'clock yet. So you got to be careful with those things, but it's good to see you. Thanks for tuning in. But anyway, season 4 dropped this morning and I stumbled upon it on Twitter. I don't think I've seen any friends or anything post about it. So it's really just kind of an interesting thing. Because I feel like, season 1, season 2, season 3, it was that was the conversation. That's what America was talking about. I know we got bigger problems right now, but it was a big deal. And I mean, hey, it's been out for 16 hours, something like that. I guess we'll see what happens with Stranger Things season 4. Apparently they left 2 episodes to be released in July. So they're doing the split the season in half thing, except it was 7 or 8 episodes or something in the first half and then 2 in the last half. I know that the episodes are super long. And I figure it's a show that I'll watch it at some point. But I mean, I'm mostly just focused on Hell's Kitchen reruns right now. And not to mention the other show, which is what I was excited for. And I didn't realize it until I woke up this morning oh, wait, I think this actually happened today. But it did. And that's the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, which is, a kind of not hesitant about, but just trying to keep my expectations low because honestly, anything Disney Star Wars has just been I don't know. I don't even remember when exactly did Disney take over. Was Rogue One the first Disney project? I think that was the case. But they've all just kind of, Rogue One is fantastic. I think Solo is crippled by one, the way they marketed it and then released it, and then high expectations. But it also was like a pretty average movie, and they just tried to do so much like lore and world building. And the biggest problem is I don't think anyone wanted a Han Solo movie in the first place. So it's kind of like, okay. And then, gosh, I mean, we don't need to talk about the sequel trilogy on here. 7 was like set it up for potential, but it was pretty much just a New Hope remake. 8 was just a flaming hot pile of garbage, and I never saw 9. And so, you know, the TV shows, Mandalorian has been pretty solid. Boba Fett was just like Mandalorian season 2.5. Gosh, I might be forgetting something, and I don't even remember what else Disney has done. But so my point being, like, I'm not convinced that it's going to be great, but I will watch anything that Ewan McGregor does. I even watched his Halston limited, miniseries on Netflix, 5 parts. Not that I care about fashion or Liza Minnelli or anything about, Halston's life, but I was just like, hey, it's Ewan, like, let's check it out, let's see it. So Disney dropped the first 2 episodes this morning of Obi-Wan Kenobi, and I'm actually like, I'm feeling it so far for the most part. I'm not going to like do any spoilers or anything, but the show starts off with like a 4-minute prequel recap, basically, which is just like very out of character for anything like in this era of Star Wars, because it seems like Disney Star Wars is trying to forget that the prequels ever even happened. And the fact that they were showing like hardcore, like Jake Lloyd clips, Liam Neeson, pod racing. I'm just like, I mean, hey, you can love or hate Phantom Menace, and it's got plenty of flaws, plenty of things that are terrible about it. But I thought it was really cool. And we even got some decent Attack of the Clones stuff and Padme. So it's just like, I feel like, Jake Lloyd and Natalie Portman and Liam Neeson are just like forgotten members of the Star Wars family. And so I appreciated that we were sort of like doing some throwbacks there. And then just honestly, and I'm not going to like reveal anything about plot points or anything like that, but I think it's so cool that they've gotten like, Joel Edgerton to come back and play Lars. The female actress who portrayed, Beru in Attack of the Clones is literally back, and she was in a Jimmy Smits is back to play Bail, and it's like they got all these people from literally 17 years ago. Is that Revenge of the Sith? 20 years ago from Attack of the Clones, 19, to like come back and play these roles. Not that they're like life-changing roles or anything like that, but I just think that that's cool that they've done that. And of course, Ewan McGregor. One thing that's interesting, the last thing I'll say about this, I don't know, there's like 8 episodes in Kenobi or something like that, but Ewan says he wants to do a 2nd season, which would be awesome. I would love to do that. Oh, and Hayden Christensen's back for this to play Darth Vader, which is spectacular. One thing that's interesting, and here's our kind of beanhead call to action of the week. You can always email us what you think, beantownpodcast@yahoo.com, or fill out the comment card on beantownpodcast.com. I want to see if other people feel this way or if I'm just going crazy. In the prequels, I'm pretty confident that Ewan McGregor speaks in an English accent. Ewan McGregor is Scottish, and I suppose if you're not paying that much attention, or if you don't know much about Scottish and English accents, you'd be like, oh yeah, what are you talking about? Like, it's the same. They're pretty different in my perspective. Maybe not pretty different, but like somewhat different. The reason I bring it up, I feel like in these first few episodes of Kenobi, Ewan is using his just normal Scottish accent, which is a little bizarre. And maybe he's not. Maybe I'm just like listening for it and making stuff up. But I really feel like, there's been a lot of like words or phrases I've heard him say in the first 2 episodes where I'm like, that sounds pretty Scottish, not English. So that's my perspective. But I want you, the Beanheads, the hashtag friends of the podcast, to give it a listen and see what you think. So that's our check-in on television series. And of course, This Is Us, the dramatic, emotional finale, ending after 6 years this year. So that's Quinn's TV recap. You know what I would love to do right now? Let's hear from our sponsors. We're going to hear from our sponsors We're going to learn about our new Right on Cue segment, and then we're going to talk a little bit about Quinn's crazy concert, courtesy of friend of the podcast, Sam Anderson. So that's what we're going to be talking about. Let me go ahead and pull up our ads here. Haven't done full ad reads in a little while, but I think the fans are excited to hear me sing, all that good stuff. So let me finish sending this text here. Okay, here come the ads. First up, they're in Google Docs. That's how long it's been since I actually read the ads. It's been a long time since I opened them. Oh man, I'm logged into the wrong Google account. That's gonna make life tough. Dead air. Please don't make me put in my password. Okay, there we go. You ever log in to Google Docs and the first document you're like, I don't know what that is. Must have been from a software test or something. Okay, here we go. It's actually time, folks. Home Pride Oregon. Are you tired of selling your house for less? And that don't let me forget. I want to give a shout out to someone associated with Home Pride Oregon when we're finished up here. Are you tired of selling your house for less than a quarter of what it's worth, all because you couldn't find a reliable home inspector in time? Well, Oregon listeners, I got good news for you. Home Pride Inspection Services in Bend, Oregon is Central Oregon's new home inspection provider with inspection services including things like heating and cooling, roughing the passer, roofing, plumbing, and so much more. Home Pride Oregon is both contractor certified and home inspection certified, so you know you're getting the good stuff. If you're tired of big real estate's angle hole on the home inspection market and you want a safe certified home inspector that you can trust, call Steve at 541-410-0316, or you can visit homeprideoregon.com. Again, that's 541-410-0316, or you can visit homeprideoregon.com. Home Pride Oregon inspection perfection. Today that, excuse me, I was going to be running through 2 or 3 TV shows here. Kind of feel like the TV guide here, which made me think about the old TV guide, which was that was going to be a thing on the Beantown podcast, and it was for like 6 weeks. And hardcore beanheads will remember when I would go and talk about it and like always be hoping that I'd get that John Goodman cover, Roseanne, canceled, but the Connors are back, and I just wanted a cool pic of John Goodman like in a flannel crossing his arms and like the Connors, they're back. And then my TV guide stopped coming. After I think it was like 3 issues or something, it was a total ripoff. So that's the TV guide story, and it's been like 2 years since we actually brought it up here on the show, but gone but never forgotten. All right. Our good friends at Samson, the Samson Q2U series. I know for a lot of you, it's kind of it's not really church season. The holidays are long gone. Easter's gone. Maybe you go to church with your dad on Sunday for Father's Day in 3 weeks, but maybe he just wants to stay home and make pancakes. And, we're probably not going to see you again until All Hallows Eve or something. But don't forget, whether you're at church or whether you're at home, when God speaks, he uses the crisp, clear audio quality that you can only get from a Samson, from Genesis to Exodus, Leviticus, Deuteronomy, and all those minor prophets too. When God speaks, he uses a Samson. And I promised you to not let me forget about the shout out. I want to give a shout out to my dad, Steve, owner of Home Pride Oregon. It's not Father's Day yet, but he is, I believe, today or tomorrow, officially off the clock, his retail job. And it's been a long time. And congratulations. How many Chicago-based independent barbers can actually give it to you the way you deserve? Enter Cuts by Q. It's like Enter Sandman, only a little bit different. Cuts by Q has been independently owned and operated since 1995. I should take my hat off for this so that the listeners can check it out. This muss of hair, MUSS. OFHAI. Independently owned and operated since 1995 and is probably, and I apologize because this humidity is killing it, it is probably one of the better barbershop operations serving Chicago, Cook County, Northwest Indiana, and the greater Chicagoland area. From beehives to bangs, faux hawks to flat tops, and everything in between, call Cuts by Q at 815-298-7200, or you can email cutsbyq@yahoo.com. Again, that's Cuts, QUTZ by Q at yahoo.com. You know what I never do is actually check the Cuts by Q email because I got Beantown Podcast yahoo.com synced up to my my phone email, like the mail application on my phone, but I don't have Cuts by Q synced up to anything, and I never do the full ad read, and so I never think about it. I should check that maybe after this if I don't forget. But who knows? So if you've been trying to get a haircut in the last 2-3 years, just pretend that I've been fully booked. Oh, when you need a fresh do, something snappy and new, just call the experts at Cuts by Q. All right, thank you for indulging me with my ads. Okay, let's go ahead and get into our new Right on Cue segment. And so just to remind everyone, I'm going to have to briefly, we're going to keep YouTube going this whole time. You're going to see the behind the scenes action, but I'm going to have to briefly pause the MP3 file to insert our pre-recorded taping of Right on Cue, and then Cuts by Q, Right on Cue. We got a lot to keep track of, and then insert it in, and then we'll come right back. So that's what we're going to be doing. Right on Cue segment in here. YouTube, I don't know if you're really going to be able to hear this, but I'm going to play it now anyways. If you can't hear it, go back and watch or listen to the, your podcast stream. Cue segment in here. Next time on Right on Cue. The gun control debate rages on in Washington. Here's what we know. It's Memorial Day weekend, everyone. Flip some burgers and have a good time. An International Mr. Leather 2022 comes to Chicago. We'll catch up with all the outfits, the sexiness, and see how Scott Farrell's doing. Next time on Right on Cue. All right, good stuff. When we're back in sync, MP3 audio file, YouTube, welcome back to Quinn David Furness presents the Beantown Podcast. We're in the back half of today's show. And yeah, that is true. International Mr. Leather is in Chicago this weekend at a hotel kind of downtown in the South Loop. I think the Congress is where it's at. It's that interesting thing, anything related to Scott Farrell, where I want to do some research, partially out of curiosity, just because it's a world that I don't know anything about, his whole kink, fetish, leather, all that, all that stuff. And some of it is like extremely NSFW, and some of it is just kind of interesting. So you never know when you get to a new web page, you never know what you're going to find. Is it going to be like interesting cultural, historical stuff, or is it going to be like, some serious penises out in the open? Like, you don't know, which is why it's exciting and erotic and, very fun. But yeah, Scott Farrell's been talking it up. He's at International Mr. Leather, which sounds like a big deal, but I learned it's just a Chicago thing. So the Zinskis and Clooney's of the world are converging in the South Loop this weekend. Scott, according to his Twitter, which we've been keeping my finger on the pulse, got to Chicago yesterday. He's got some sort of booth. So I think they've got, they probably rented out the, like the ballroom or something like that. They got, it's like a expo kind of deal from my understanding. I don't know like what booth he's representing. And I sure as hell I'm not going down there to find out. But yeah, I mean, this is an event that he's talked about in his autobiography, and he's back in action for this one. So we'll see. We'll see. I haven't checked in his Twitter lately. We'll see what he's been up to today. But yeah, the fact that Scott is, 4 or 5 miles from me right now makes me feel a little uncomfy. So let's not think about it. In fact, this would be a good time for a little graham cracker break. Crunchy. It's from Trader Joe's. This is good stuff. You know what I wouldn't mind though? if I'm going to eat graham crackers, I'm probably going to eat a lot. So I wouldn't really mind bringing the sugar content down. Not that graham crackers are like super sugary, but you kind of taste them and you're like, yeah, there's some sweetness in there. I know graham crackers are more of a kid's thing. And you can even buy the graham crackers, or at least you could when I was little, that are like coated in cinnamon sugar, which is just like out of this world sweet. But here's the thing, like even by themselves, imagine if you actually made a s'more and you put a marshmallow and Hershey's chocolate bar, or any chocolate bar you want in the middle. That's like sugar on sugar on sugar, man. That's nuts. And I need a little sweet every once in a while. I literally went to the lake last night after work and got a big gulp of diet Coke, because that's sometimes just in this. I think I've talked about this before on the show. Sometimes I just get in Diet Coke mood like 5 times a year. And I'm just like, gosh, I could really go for a Diet Coke. But yeah, I know people who drink soda, like 4 or 5 times a week. And I probably did that for like a year stretch in high school, but not anymore. I literally get a craving for like and never a regular Coke. I don't know the last time I had a regular Coke, but a Diet Coke. And that's become a more of a recent thing too. I feel like I was kind of introduced to the concept of Diet Coke instead of regular Coke, probably by Rachel. Not that she drinks it much either, but anytime she does drink soda, it's Diet Coke versus regular Coke. And I think growing up, like I would never go for a diet soda, because in my mind it's inferior. But nowadays, it has nothing to do with like, oh, no calories, or like, aspartame versus real sugar or whatever. I think I just straight up like the taste better, which it's just less intense, I think, on the sweetness. It's still plenty sweet, but it has nothing to do with like, oh, I feel less guilty drinking this. Like I'm still drinking soda, I feel guilty, and I should. But it's just like, yeah, I can't imagine drinking like an entire regular soda. Even when I make DIY like rum and cokes, or Coke and whiskey or anything like that. What I like. Okay, as promised, last thing I wanted to touch on here. Thanks everyone who's been listening. Last weekend, went up to Milwaukee, took the Hiawatha Union Station up to the Intermodal, stayed with my dear friend, former roommate Sam Anderson. We had a very nice, very chill weekend. But the highlight, undoubtedly, we went to the Brewers Nationals game, 6 p.m. on Saturday night. And it was a pretty boring game. But Sam found out shortly after he purchased our tickets that there was a post-game concert on the field. I had never been to a post-game concert before. I probably like run the bases at Wrigley like once. I have no idea. Gosh, it's been almost 28 years of living. I don't really recall. But or maybe even at up in Milwaukee. I don't know. But Sam was like, it's Vanilla Ice, it's Rob Bass, and it's one of the guys from Naughty by Nature. And I, of course, had to look up what Rob Bass had done. If you don't know, he sings It Takes Two. It takes two to make a thing go right. And then Naughty by Nature, I know down with OPP. And Vanilla Ice, I didn't really know much about other than Ice Ice Baby, which samples Under Pressure. And he did like a cover of Play That Funky Music, White Boy. Anyways, just a really bizarre thing. It was probably almost a full hour after the game ended for them to like get the stage set up, get everything going. Then they bring out a DJ to hype the crowd up. But it's just, man, it's a lot of white people. And then you get like, Rob Bass came on first, and I think he sang 2 songs, including, It Takes Two. And then guy from Naughty down with OPP. And then Vanilla Ice came out, and man, it was just trippy. He brought fans up on the stage to dance. There's a whole bunch of white girls. There didn't seem to be any visible security around. I guess no one really cares about Vanilla Ice enough to attack him. There were Teenage Ninja Mutant Turtles on stage dancing. Two of them, I think it was Donatello and Raphael, maybe. I don't know. Who are the four? Donatello, Raphael, Leonardo, and Michelangelo, I think, are the four. Splinter is kind of their boss. And this one kind of robot-looking dude looked like something straight out of like a fake 30 Rock sketch or something. And towards the end of the set, I mean, Vanilla Ice only played for like 30 minutes. The whole thing was probably like an hour, with everyone. But towards the end of his set, he got a like an American flag out. He like draped it around his neck and started to do like all these salutes to the troops and stuff. Which I was thinking about this after, because it very much like started to feel like a MAGA kind of thing, MAGA, whatever. Which is really a damn shame that that kind of sector, that kind of wing of the country has like not necessarily appropriated that stuff, but like taken that and like associated with a lot of other things, which really sucks, because there should be nothing wrong about like being proud of your country and like celebrating, the place you live, and like supporting, the people who serve in the military. Like that's all good stuff. But it just gets, it just seems so close to like so many other messed up things that it feels weird to be like, yeah, let's cheer for the troops and like all have American flags and stuff. So anyways, it definitely would white people. Vanilla Ice comes up from Florida with a flag wrapped around his neck, cheering for the troops. And so it's just kind of like, okay. So we got out of there. We actually took Sam had the clutch move. There's a bar down the street from his apartment that shuttles folks back and forth, and so for free. So we went down there beforehand, got a drink, took the shuttle, and then on the way back after the concert, boy, that bus was packed. It's kind of like a bus maybe has like, I don't know, 12 rows back or something on each side. So theoretically that that houses like 50 people, but there was, everyone, a ton of people standing and stuff too. There had to have been at least like 75 people on that bus. It was cramped. And then spent a lot of time at Sam's house on his PlayStation as well, playing this hunting game. I think it's called Hunter Call of the Wild or something like that. And at first I was really terrible at it. Started to get a little bit better. It's like the most realistic, one of those like hyper realistic games. So it just takes forever to find anything. And you got really just crappy equipment to start. But then I was watching some YouTube videos later of like guys who've got, all the special features and bonuses unlocked. And they've got like radar detectors on their guns, and the animals have like neon outlines. The scopes can zoom in like 1,000 yards. So, I was hunting pigs and rabbits and deer and coyotes with basically my bare hands. So pretty proud of myself and my abilities. Starting to get a little tickle in my throat, which means it's time for some more water and time for another graham cracker. But folks, that's what I had for you. I don't want to keep you around any longer than you need to be here. You know what? We get in, we chat for a little bit, and we get out. I want to thank those of you who talked to us on a YouTube stream. Matt, Joaquin, it's great to see. And and you want to come back and watch the video stream, you absolutely can on YouTube. My channel is just Quinn Furness. Just search me. It's pretty easy to find. That's where all the Beantown Podcast video content lives. I'm moving. Get a good look, everyone. This is the last time you're going to see it. Last time you're going to get the nice fireplace. And last time you're going to have to see me with closed blinds at 4:00 in the afternoon, just so you can see my beautiful face. We're going to get our outro music going. And YouTube, it's great to see you. Take care. And next week will be June. Everyone stay safe, stay sane. YouTube, I'll check in on you later. See ya, YouTube. Bye. And audio.